favorite topic, Colin Kaepernick. And we now quit comparing Colin Kaepernick to the black religious icons of the 1960s, such as Muhammad Ali, Martin Luther King Jr., and Rosa Parks. Can we stop the insanity and just accept that Kaepernick is a corporate marketing brand and not a civil rights revolutionary? Yesterday, we learned that Muhammad Ali filed to trademark his Afro image so that he can use his likeness to sell shampoo, hairspray, jewelry, and lampshades.
Hey.
I'm not making that up.
Sure.
It's in the documents Kaepernick filed that he would use his likeness to sell jewelry, lampshades, and whatnot. The so-called modern-day Muhammad Ali is now a homeless man's Peyton Manning, a product pitch man for hire. Cap is a mercenary for any corporation looking for a little street credibility. For the right price, he'll raise a closed fist, take a knee, and let you ogle his fro at your next bar mitzvah, sweet 16, or baby shower. God rest Jenny Green's soul, but Cap is exactly who I thought he was, a confused child who flew too close to the sun, lost his identity as an NFL star, and used black militancy as a parachute to stop the crash. It may sound like I'm celebrating his demise. I'm not. I have a great empathy for Colin Kaepernick. In this era of intense identity politics, his complicated upbringing, he's mixed race, adopted by white suburbanites, that created natural confusion. Cap is a victim of America's leadership crisis and our unwillingness to make tough decisions and tell people the truth. We've lied to Colin Kaepernick, and those lies made it easy for him to quit football and transition to martyrdom. That's why my real disappointment is saved for the Kaepernicks, the people who insisted that Colin Kaepernick be far more than what he was capable of being, the people who misconstrue black history. How can Kaepernick be Ali or MLK without a religious platform to stand on? That's our history. That's where great black leadership has always come from. I get it. Young people think Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and all the other Silicon Valley rigged internet platforms are the places to incubate and grow leadership now. The church and religion are outdated. Really? Are we being serious? Do you really understand the history of black people in this country? Silicon Valley and the tech industry won't employ us or save us. Social media is primarily an amplifier of things the Silicon Valley wants amplified. Social media is not a sturdy foundation of support for revolutionary change. Black Twitter is not a job at Twitter. It's clever branding that conceals the fact that it's much easier for a black person to get a job from Donald Sterling than Jack Dorsey. And that's exactly the kind of branding Colin Kaepernick will be providing lampshade, shampoo, and hairspray companies moving forward. He's already providing Nike with those services.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
Yep, you can continue to believe in Colin Kaepernick if you want to, but you're sacrificing common sense. All right, join us at the desk are former NFL players Brian Cox and Bucky Brooks. Marcellus, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
I know Brian Cox is champion at the bit, but I want to start with you. Colin Kaepernick is a corporate brand, not a revolutionary.
Wow, there's something I have to disprove in your essay. And it was such an egregious lie that...
Lie
that I have to go. I quote one great Jason Whitlock, religious platforms, that's our history. Yeah. That's where great black leadership has always come from. Let's go a little deeper into that because one Philip Randolph would disagree with that. And we all know who Philip Randolph is. And if we don't, here's the education. He's a labor organizer who actually came up with the idea on the March on Washington, who was right next to Dr. King in his I Have a Dream speech, who happened to be an atheist. There are others, W.E.B. Du Bois, founder of the NAACP, who just happened to be a free thinker, humanist, and some say atheist. Point being that you don't have to always be in this monolithic model of Christian black values to say that you are a revolutionary. Just want to get that out the way. Now let's talk about what you're saying about the branding. And
I'm going to let you continue, but I want to talk about effective, and I get Philip Randolph, E.B. Du Bois. None of those guys have the legacy of MLK, Malcolm X, and many other, Frederick Douglass and many others that come from the black church. But continue.
Oh, well, Frederick Douglass, Langston Hughes, Richard Wright, James Baldwin, others, free thinkers. I'm not going to let you go there. Oh, but look, that's for thinking cap another day. Yeah. What's wrong with being a brand? I don't understand this. The point of a revolution is to take the disenfranchised and make that mainstream to affect status quo. And the branding will allow him to have the money, the resources, and can affect the change of policy and legislation, which is all we asked for when he was taking a knee. When he was taking a knee, people said, stop talking, stop distracting, stop going with the awareness model, and give me action. And then the action is now turned into monetary resources, but we continue to move the goalposts against Colin Kaepernick, and I think that's unfair.
Brother, use that Ivy League education up here to educate. That's what I'm talking about.
Every other day, not every day.
But here's the point that I was making in thoughts in line with your thoughts on the monetary value. MLK, 30 years, 40 years later, people were selling I Have a Dream t-shirts and making money off of it. Muhammad Ali shirts 20, 30 years later. Why not him be allowed to make the money from his own name? He has no job. Nike used him, and I'm sure underpaid him for the slogan because they've come out really well. I think it was up 33% the week after, so they made money.
But go ahead.
Yeah, well, they made money off of it. So he hasn't gotten the money that I'm sure Nike has made off of it. So this is a way for him to do it in the now, in the present. And it will enact change, as he said, because the man put up his own $1 million, as he said he would, to the fund. He left $20 million on the table when he opted out the deal, or $25 million on the table when he opted out the deal. So he is legitimately trying to do something, and I'm with the brother, man. I'm standing with him.
No, I think that's the big thing. You want to see action, and he did bring about action. He committed $1 million of his own money to causes. He also, what I would say, inspired others, not in terms of taking the knee, but you have seen more athletes engaged in the community, doing things, being out there. We've seen athletes have ride-alongs with police officers, guys actually getting on the ground and doing work. So regardless of whether he's come out and been opinionated and been outspoken, what he did was he led a movement of change. Athletes are more involved. And for years, athletes sat on the sideline, didn't involve themselves in the process, and we've seen more people involve themselves in the process by using their platforms to get messages out.
I think we've seen more people talking about and showing, hey, look at me, I'm involved in the process. I think athletes, and again, Bucky, I know you played in Kansas City, and you can go all the way back to the things the Chiefs organization had their players doing in the community. This has always been there. I think there has been a lot more public social media, hey, look, this is what I'm doing now, more so than players doing more. Again, I just can't believe that no one here thinks when you mix in big business and corporations, you want to put your Angela Davis afro on, you want to throw your black fist up in the air like you Tommy Smith, but you also want to be with every big corporation you can be, and you want to offer yourself up, your image up to hairspray companies and lampshades and all that. The mixing of big business is somehow, to this degree, somehow I'm a revolutionary and I'm for change. This says nothing about where he's at now, and to me, where he's always been. It's always been about his own personal brand and how he can monetize that. I just can't believe I'm sitting here, and again, Ivy League educated. A lot of times, I mean, I'm just telling you, what do they teach you at those Ivy League schools about us? Because if you leave religion out of black people, we basically disappear from this country. We're a modern miracle because of our faith, and I get there have been some atheists along the way that have rode the coattails of others, but in terms of where our leadership has come from and what it has stood on, it's always been a religious deal, and this whole little secular internet Silicon Valley movement has no substance to me, and it's always about money, and it's always about surface level things and not